Infinity +3. You're the Infinity. We're the +3. My name's Amit.
I'm Selvin.
I'm Antonio.
And today we're going to be discussing X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse. That's what we're talking about today. This is the spoiler version. There's going to be lots of spoilers, so make sure that if you haven't seen the movie, you leave. If you don't plan on seeing the movie, then you can stick around. If you've already seen the movie, then definitely stick around.
Yeah.
And, why don't you guys get started? I'll let it roll back around to me.
See how forgettable this movie was? You even forgot the name after we just watched it.
Ooh, you just got your first spoiler. It's a pretty forgettable movie. Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it could have been so much better. Yeah.
I saw the reviews before, like, on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, you know what? I bet this is one of these movies where these people saw Captain America, so I think it's going to be pretty good. So I really was hoping it was going to be pretty good, maybe not as good as Captain America, but it just wasn't even close, in my opinion. The story was black, the character development was lacking, and the villain. Oh wait, this is a spoiler, right? So yeah, Apocalypse was just god awful with nothing but cliches, and it's just he just wasn't as strong, especially for someone who's supposed to be as strong as Apocalypse, apparently in the comics. So
I agree. I think it should have been a longer arc with him. They did it too quick.
See, my review of the movie is like, it was just average at best, slightly above average because it had the millions of dollars behind it. But with so much money put into it, you would think they'd come up with better screenwriting, better lines for people, and a better story. But the story was forgettable. It wasn't anything special. It was predictable, cliches, nothing made me be like, this is a good movie. I'm enjoying this movie. It was more like, I've seen this like a million times. And the one time where I wanted the cliche to actually happen, it didn't happen. I was so annoyed by that. Because up until then, it's like cliche after cliche after cliche. And then eventually it gets to the point where it's like, the kid is supposed to be like, hey, you're my father, talking about Quicksilver and Magneto. And he's like, he just completely
He was like, I'm here for my family too, or some shit.
When the end of the world was about to happen, that wasn't the right time to tell him.
Yeah, that pissed me off so much. I'm like, if there's ever a time to tell this psychopath that you're his son, it's right now before he kills everyone. Yeah. But no, that's not important.
That's a cliche that I was expecting to happen, but it didn't happen.
Ooh, I got a great little joke. For Quicksilver, he's pretty slow.
He actually said that in the movie, right?
He said that in the movie.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
He said he's always
for
a little
somebody
late.
that's so fast. Yeah, for somebody that's so fast, I'm always late.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he said that. I meant slow as in that.
Yeah, in
but,
my head, yeah.
I think he meant late as in that. But either way. Yeah.
I mean, that was the best scene of the whole movie, right? Was there a better scene than the Quicksilver scene?
No, I think that was the best scene. That was the best scene. The Quicksilver scene was the best. And not just that, it had the best music, too. Same thing with the other movies. Yeah, they played
wasn't that Sweet Dreams?
Sweet Dreams are made of cheese or something. Yeah, Apocalypse, in all honesty, could have been this perfect villain. Like, they made him really strong, but they took him out so easily. It wasn't a challenge.
Yeah.
And what was that about fucking Magneto being this... He was like all vengeful and revenge, and then he just kind of decided to be the good guy.
Yeah, they didn't even say, like, because Quicksilver didn't reveal himself. So what exactly? Where was his thought at? There was no thought process with him. He was just bad, and then he was good again, or good, bad, good.
I think it's just that he decided he didn't want to lose Xavier and them because they're like all he has left or whatever. And
this is supposed to happen before the original X-Men, right? Or is this supposed to be a completely new story? Because this is in the 80s, right? So then he turns bad again at some point, right? Because then the old X-Men movies are supposed to be X-Men 1, X-Men United, right? So somewhere between then he turns bad again. So you see, they don't really.
Or maybe
explain
it is a new
that.
timeline because didn't they change the past in Days of Future Past?
Sort of.
Could be a new timeline.
No, they changed the future. In Days
so
of
that
Future
they weren't
Past.
all dead.
Correct. They changed the future, which
But
would
they
be
didn't
what
change
the
the
original
past,
X-Men movies
because the
are.
past was the whole thing with the whole beach scene, right? They never changed that because that was still there. So they changed what the future was going to be like.
I see.
I personally did not like the new characters. Not necessarily the actors themselves, mainly what they did with the characters. They had no build-up for any of the characters. They had no build-up. Well, let me backtrack a little. They actually had build-up for one new character, which was Cyclops. Cyclops was the only one that had an actual, like, build up to his character, and it was a cliche one, too, which involved his brother, of course, dying, and he's like, oh my god, time for me to be the potential that my brother wanted me to be. That came out towards the end because he was like, I have no potential. I'm the black sheep of the family or whatever. Even though they only pointed to that for like 1 second in the movie when they're talking in their family, and he's like, oh, what's his name?
Who?
Cyclops' real name.
Oh, Scott.
Scott. They're like, oh, Scott's not like us. That's what his family said or something like that. But then he's supposed to be like this, like great leader later on in the movie, whatever. He's the only one that had any storyline to his actual character. Aside from that, like, Storm had no real storyline. Olivia Munn's character had no storyline. Even like Archangel, which is my favorite character of the whole X-Men comics, had no character. Apocalypse had no character.
What he means by that is like they didn't build them up.
They didn't build up anybody.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler had no character development. Like, it was more like these guys. It's like every movie where you add new characters, where there's a bunch of new characters, and they have no character development whatsoever, where it just falls flat, in my opinion.
Shit, even the Cyclops story started with a cliche. If you remember the bully.
I don't remember because
that's right. He
I
had to go out. That's right.
Yeah. But,
well, basically, he got bullied, and then his powers came out. I mean, how many times that seems like that's been done forever.
I love how they just completely ignore X-Men Origins. Like, they totally ignore it. Because if you remember in X-Men Origins, they showed Cyclops when he first came into the team for the first time, and he like helped them get out of that building at the end when Sabretooth and Wolverine go to fight Deadpool.
Movie?
Yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like,
X-Men Origins Wolverine was shit.
I know it was shit, but I just love how they pretend like it didn't even happen.
Yeah, because it was like, that's the one with Ryan Reynolds
and
too,
they
right?
forced Ryan Reynolds to do that too. Like, I was reading about that. He gave an interview and he was like, I don't think the fans are going to be happy about this, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, look, do you want to do it or should we find someone else?
And he wasn't a big enough actor to try to...
No, he was basically like, if I do this, then if there is a Deadpool movie, they'll remember that I played Deadpool. Yeah. And he's Deadpool. I mean, let's face it, you can't cast someone else as Deadpool.
No.
Yeah.
At this time, it would be blasphemy to cast anybody else but Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Correct. Yeah, it would be. So,
what do you guys think of the characters? Anybody that stood out for you guys?
Nope, not even the established characters were any good, really. They just didn't care about him.
The only one I really cared about was Magneto. That's it. With what happened to him and his family in the beginning. Yeah. But honestly, they could have done so much of a better job with Magneto. But like all that anger and stuff that he had from that beginning part, it just dissipates for no reason, and they don't give any explanation. That's what pissed me off. It's like you go through all the trouble of showing his family, killing all the people he worked with, all this shit, and then at the end of the day, he's like, I'm good now. Let me save you guys. Like, what the fuck?
And frankly, I'm used to an evil Magneto, and I like that Magneto. I don't like this good Magneto.
That's the other thing I don't like about it.
I don't like it.
But, again, another cliche.
Yeah.
Another cliche. Magneto has a family. His family dies. He's like, oh, time's for me to, like, become a bad guy. That's, like, every cliche of so many bad people where it's like, I'm good now. I have this family, and all of a sudden somebody comes up and fucks up his family, kills them off, and then he's like, time for me to be bad again. I've seen that so many movies, and I'm tired of it.
The only one that maybe was the best character, honestly, was probably Hank McCoy. Beast. Yeah, I actually thought he was okay. He was probably one of the better ones, and that's not saying much in this movie, but I mean, could you name a better one than
The
him?
two characters I liked in this whole movie was Beast and Quicksilver.
Oh, that's right, and Quicksilver.
Quicksilver is just good because
He was kind of fun. He had the comic relief. He had the
Yeah.
comic
Well, he had
relief.
comic reliefs. That's the most that was actually in the movie. There was no character development in nobody. There's no good story, no good lines. The only good lines was the comic relief in the movie.
this was not a movie for the fans. This was a movie to make money.
It
Because think about it. Even if you think about Quicksilver, you know why you liked Quicksilver? Because he's exactly the same as he was in Days of Future Past. They gave him the same type of scene. He saved people, slow motion, exact same thing. It was the same thing.
And I'm okay as long as you give me the same thing, as long as it's good.
I agree with you.
They
I mean,
didn't
as long
give
as
me
it's
the
good.
same thing in
They
this
with
movie.
everything else. Like,
Yeah.
everything else was weak.
You're saying I hate what they're doing with, well, with both of you, with Magneto, where he's like sort of good.
Yeah.
Because Magneto has always, I guess, sort of. He was good in the beginning, I guess, when he was with Xavier.
Yeah.
In the comics, also, in the cartoon version, he was good in the beginning when he was with Xavier. But then once he becomes bad, he's pretty much bad all the
way,
time.
yeah.
He's never, and that's the thing with same thing with Mystique. Mystique never really flip flops. She's always been this iconic bad character, and I really don't like how they made Mystique out to be this like, hey, this is like somebody we have to look up to be like, because in the movie they have a picture of her because she was, the one that saved like the stadium or whatever, and they have a picture of that. And they make her out to be like this like hero of the mutants and stuff like that, and I don't like that. I like Mystique to be this like evil character. Same thing with Magneto. They also had character development with Mystique and Jennifer Lawrence and her character, but I cared zero for it. I had no feelings towards. I had more feelings towards the cliche Cyclops cliche. The cliche Cyclops story where it's like, hey, his brother dies now for him to live up to his potential. Well, as like Mystique's character being like, oh, everybody's looking up to me, but I don't care. I'm gonna do my own thing, and then eventually I'll do the right thing, kind of thing. And I cared zero for her.
They legit should make her such a good villain because Jennifer Lawrence is such a good actress. So they can...
She could play a good villain.
Yeah,
They could
she
make
could've.
such a good villain. But instead, they give her this storyline where she's probably like... That's why she's like,
Well, you know where I think of X-Men United, where they actually got, like, Magneto and her, right? Where they were helping the X-Men because they kind of had no other choice. They had
And that's
to...
how it was
and
in
then,
the stories.
And then they were still evil because if you remember at the end, Magneto was still... He reversed the whole mind control thing, right? So, see, he was with them, so he was kind of a good guy, but not really ever.
No.
That's exactly how it should be.
Yeah, it should be. He's only siding with the X-Men to further cause to further
help his cause.
to
to further help his cause.
Mhm.
Exactly, and that's how it should be, not like this flip flop. And the other thing I don't like about it is like every single movie that they've done so far with Magneto, they do this flip flop of his character. Where in the beginning of the movie, he's like this bad guy, and at the end of the movie, he comes to terms with his feelings or whatever. He's like, "Oh, it's time for me to be a good guy." And then the next movie, he starts off being a bad guy again, and then eventually he did this in X-Men Origins, or no, X-Men First Class. He did this in X-Men Days of Future Past. Stop rehashing the same story for that character. That character is either good or bad.
The problem
Don't
is,
make them both.
they've got to do it again now because now the way they've ended it, you're not really sure that Magneto's bad. They ended it with him and Xavier on good terms. Mystique's on good terms with everybody. So who the hell are the villains going forward?
In fact, she's one of the X-Men at the end of this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
She's
is.
an X-Men, and I don't think she is, right?
I mean,
Or is she?
it could just be that
No,
they're...
she's not.
She's never an
She's
X-Men.
never an X-Men.
It could just be that they want the next movie because Jennifer Lawrence is such a big actress. They're like, let's make her one of the good guys. She's good on the X-Men, and then they'll turn her bad. But honestly, I think they're gonna end up losing her because if the movies are gonna be shitty like this, I don't think she's gonna sign on, or she's gonna ask for too much money.
But
Well,
like,
speaking of which, like at the end, like, are they kind of hinting at the fact that they're gonna bring back the Sentinels? The
Sentinels?
Sentinels?
You mean
Sentinels.
by them
Maybe.
fighting them?
Yeah, at the very end.
Maybe. Did the X-Men create the Sentinels?
I don't think
No.
so. No.
I didn't think they did. I thought the Sentinels were bad.
Oh no! But I mean, just hinting that they were fighting, fake. That
Well, I
looked
mean,
like
they already knew the technology for the Sentinels. So
Yeah,
they
right,
just
yeah.
created the Sentinels in the X-Men just for the training, so they can train.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I didn't know if maybe that was meant to be something.
Unless they have them be like, hey, we're gonna take over the Sentinels and then bring them back. I doubt they're gonna do something with the Sentinels.
No, that was that training facility, right?
Yeah.
That is just fake. But I just figured maybe they knew that they're coming back somehow, even though they changed the future past.
See, this is the problem with the movie too. Like, if you go back to X-Men First Class, after that movie, I was stoked. I was like, I can't wait for the next X-Men movie. After Days of Future Past, I was like, the next X-Men movie is gonna be great. Now I'm kind of like, do I want to see the next X-Men movie? I don't know. I'll probably still watch it, but
and it lacks so bad a really strong I was gonna say baby face like in wrestling. A really strong good guy protagonist, right? When Logan came on, I was like, oh my god, finally, okay, Wolverine's gonna take over now, and it's gonna be his movie. It's gonna get much better. Nope.
yeah.
I agree with you that they either need a really strong
Which
good
is what
guy
Wolverine does, right? Yeah.
or a really strong bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, give me one of those. I'll be happy with them just giving us one of those two. Both would be ideal, but give me one of those. Again, every character could have died in this entire movie, and I wouldn't. The only one I would have been upset about was if Quicksilver died.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Everyone else, you didn't really like them.
Like Jean, I did not care for Jean
Jean
whatsoever.
Had absolutely
They
no
tried to
story
build her up.
whatsoever. Yeah,
they tried, but the way they built her up was terrible.
It's sad seeing her come from Game of Thrones, which is such a great show, and just like have such an underwhelming performance in such a big movie. Like that performance, I was just like, like she's not a bad actress, but the writing just wasn't good. They did not write this movie well.
You're gonna hate me for this.
What?
I don't think she's a good actress.
I mean, overall, I don't think she's a great actress either, but I think that she could have probably done a better job with better writing. In Game of Thrones, she's probably the weakest.
You're talking about Jean?
She is.
Jean,
Yeah, Jean.
she's great.
I don't
Yeah.
think she's a good actress in this movie or in Game of Thrones. That's my opinion.
I think they could have cast her better in this movie.
And like
That's for sure.
Jennifer Lawrence was a good actress in the first X-Men, in the first X-Men First Class. Somewhat a little bit in Days of Future Past. In this one, she basically, I think she just did it for the money. Or she had a contract.
She was bored throughout the whole movie.
She
She
did
just
seem
didn't
bored.
try. She didn't try.
She did
Or
not.
maybe not
try.
bored, just didn't try.
She
Yeah,
didn't seem like she was into it. She was like, she just did not seem like she was into the movie. I mean, honestly, I hate to say this, but if they do not make another X-Men movie with this cast, it wouldn't shock me. But I don't also think that...
And I'm a big fan of the Magneto guy, Michael
Fassbender. He's such a good actor.
Yeah, he's very good. I think a lot of Inglourious Bastards.
I still haven't seen that. I need to watch that.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
but
So here's the thought I had. I don't know if you guys would agree with me. I loved what's his name as Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman. I loved Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
oh yeah,
But he's getting old.
you could tell in his face this time.
Yeah,
you
he's
could
getting old.
really tell. Yeah,
He's getting old.
and he said that
Wouldn't-
Wolverine was gonna be his last
Yeah.
movie.
I
Yeah.
think in
Wouldn't
the next
you-
movie
Yeah,
they're
it's
going to
his
do
last.
Old Man Logan.
Wouldn't you, right now, in this movie, in that scene with Wolverine, would have been the perfect time to actually cast a new Wolverine guy?
No, because they're making another Wolverine movie.
And that's his
I
last.
know they're making another
And I
Wolverine
think
movie.
in that movie, I think he's going to be old.
Yes,
Because
but
in
then
the
you
comics,
can still
there's a
follow
whole
the
like
story.
old man Wolverine storyline.
But
So
you
I
can
think they're
still
gonna do that.
follow the story with Old Man Wolverine with the next movie.
Oh,
I
you're
think-
saying just completely get rid of him?
I'm saying in this movie, cast Wolverine completely new, so that there is a future Wolverine and future X-Men movies.
It's probably good
That's
they
young.
didn't do that though.
That's younger though.
It's probably good they didn't do that though.
Why?
Because the movie was shit. So if they casted a new
And
Wolverine,
he had absolutely no lines
If
or
it's
anything.
yeah,
shit,
no
though.
His lines were,
credibility. Yeah,
It's shit.
we might be sitting here going, who was that jackass playing
Yeah.
Wolverine? You know, that
There
could have
would've
been
been-
our reaction.
If
Yeah.
they would have done it how I hoped that he had done it, it would have came out the new Wolverine. He would have been taking over the movie. Then maybe.
See,
Then it
that
would've
would have been
worth it.
different. If he was like the main protagonist
Yeah,
and
and, like,
all that could have been good. But
then cast a really strong Wolverine, and
like, who was the main protagonist in this movie? Who was the main good guy? Like, who did this movie
I
focus
mean,
on?
Xavier,
or Mystique.
Jean, and so the three people that they focused on a lot was Xavier,
Boring.
Jean,
Boring.
and
Speak.
no, there was one more. Xavier, Jean,
Cyclops?
Cyclops.
Boring.
Those were the three that they.
So the most interesting part of the movie, in my opinion, was Magneto. Magneto's storyline.
Magneto's storyline
Yeah.
and Quicksilver's scenes were the best. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, besides that,
And how
Weak
about that?
sauce.
I forgot her name. The one that that Charles is in love with from the other ones, right?
I completely forgot.
Like
Doctor-
she was completely pointless to the story at the beginning
It
when
was.
she was filming. That had nothing to do with anything, right? Because the apocalypse still would have came out. She had
no.
nothing to do-
No. She was important because in the beginning, she's the one who, by sneaking down there, let the sun in to hit that stupid pyramid to wake up the dude.
So the
So
whole
Was,
reason
was that
they
really
have,
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember when the
I
sunlight
thought they were
hit,
already
it started getting...
doing the praying thing.
No,
No,
So the
they were praying, but
whole
nothing was
reason-
working because there was no sunlight.
So then they come turning for that when somebody else could have done that.
And
The
they
whole-
all died. All the
Yeah.
prayer people, they died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the whole reason we have this shitty movie is because of her.
Yeah. Because
That's
she went to
interesting.
Egypt and decided to break into a tomb. Which, by the way, I'm glad she knew exactly where it was in Egypt, you know, where
She
this
was
guy's
following
selling
the
stuff.
people.
Ugh. So stupid. So dumb.
And then after that, though, what did she do? She was there, and she was just saying negative things like, "Oh no, he's dead," or he's like was excited.
She was
like,
pointless, too.
Yeah, like
You could tell this movie was not made with a great story in mind. It was made to make money. That's why it was made. It was made for one reason, to get people like us into the theater. Except they failed. We didn't pay because we
paid.
we
We just
well,
get an extra.
we got a free ticket. So we went
So
to
we
this
paid-
theater.
We paid for two movies for the price of one, technically.
Correct. Basically, we went into the movie to see X-Men Apocalypse. It was a Regal Theater. Or was it AMC?
AMC.
It was an AMC
AMC.
theater. We went to see the movie in 3D. We go into the theater. It's playing in 2D. So we're like, all right, we didn't pay for 2D. So these guys are like, yeah, we definitely paid for 3D. And I was like, are you sure it was 3D? You're positive? He's like, yeah, it's 3D. It's $3 more. It's supposed to be 3D. And I was like, all right, I'll be back. I walked out and I told the people, and then they ran in like, you know, little, like they're going to fix everything. Then they paused the movie. They told us because they screwed up and they don't have time to switch it, that they're going to play it in 2D and give us free passes. So as we walked out, they gave us free passes. So I don't know if I should be thanking you, AMC. Probably, because you made a shitty movie free, basically. So thanks.
For half the price.
For half the price. Yeah, I'm down with that. And we're going to be making more movie reviews, so we'll be back to that theater anyways. What was your most hated part of the movie? Like, what did you hate about it? If you had to say, like, this was the stupidest, shittiest thing about this movie, what was it?
It was definitely the whole Quicksilver not telling Magneto that he's his son, and then Magneto just randomly switching good. I just hated that. I hated it so much.
So,
It
yeah.
made no sense.
That, or maybe the part where he's, in my opinion, where, what is it? Apocalypse is beating the shit out of,
Xavier?
Xavier. And then he's like, help me, Jean. Help me. I thought that was, like, terrible writing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was pretty shitty.
I was like,
And what took her so long?
Bad,
And what took
exactly.
her so long to get
it
into
took
his
her
head?
forever to help him.
And she had to come through some door through his mind? Why
Well-
couldn't she just why couldn't she just show up?
I was
She it looked like she was entering Cerebro, or basically.
No, she was
Yeah.
coming out of Cerebro.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that what it
yeah,
was?
She was coming out of Cerebro somehow. And
Cerebral. That's what it is, right?
yeah.
Cerebral.
And then I was like, yeah, she's like, oh, also, whenever she becomes Phoenix in the comics or in the cartoons, and she comes out of Phoenix, she is completely
Messed
drained and passed out and stuff like that. In this movie, she's like perfectly
Oh,
fine.
yeah, she floated back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you should be passed out right now. And
Maybe
then
it's
come back
because
and be
when
like,
she's older, she has more power, and when she's younger, she's not
she
letting
just
loose.
defeated the strongest character in the X-Men universe.
Yeah,
Is the
that's
Phoenix
true.
supposed to be stronger than Apocalypse?
Yes.
So the
Yes.
Phoenix is supposed to be everything.
Everything. She's
Oh,
like
okay.
the strongest character ever.
Okay.
And then it's like she's like she came out of being Phoenix and like she was like, "Oh, Xavier's perfectly fine." I'm like, you should be passed out next to Xavier right now, in my opinion. That's how it should have been. If I was the director, I'd be like, okay, you just defeated him. You've used up all your power. They did it with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler used up all his power, all his strength, trying to get everybody out.
Oh, he
And
was out for the
passed
whole fight.
He was out for the entire like
That's
final
right,
fight.
He was.
And then
He
Jean
was
Grey like defeats this like, you know, the strongest character in the entire X-Men universe, and she's like perfectly fine right afterwards after using her Super Phoenix abilities or whatever.
It was
after
a
Phoenix
very
comes out.
just all cliche movie. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, it really was. I agree with you guys. I really hated the fact that Quicksilver was like, "Oh, I'm here to help my family too." Now, come on, dude, just tell them it's Apocalypse. You know, it's not like this is some third-rate bad guy. It's Apocalypse, and your father is destroying everything. Tell him you're his son. But no. Let's save that for later. We're not gonna, spoil that yet. We'll save it for another movie.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, now they're gonna play this whole thing again, where again he's gonna have to
Yeah.
fucking find a good time to tell him.
And then he probably won't do it again.
Yeah, it probably
Is he-
won't even be at a good time. He'll probably just like shake hands with him and be like, "Oh, by the way, I'm your son. I know I should have told you back then, but sorry. Yeah, I'm not that quick." So
Well, you know
that was
that-
kind of stupid.
You know what I was just thinking too, that the part that I really hate now that we even mentioned was the Wolverine thing. Like they lied in the trailer. We had some help. I'm like, oh good, Wolverine's gonna be in it. He was in it for 2 seconds, and that was it.
yeah.
I was very.
I mean,
upset.
He
I
literally
was
did
very
what all of us
upset.
wanted to do. He ran the fuck out.
Yeah.
He did. So Hugh Jackman, you took one for the team, man,
Yeah.
by coming into this movie, because I wanted to do what you did. I wanted to kill all of them and fucking go.
And it was kind of odd seeing very old, definitely much older Hugh Jackman in his interaction with Jean, and you know that later on he's gonna lust for Jean.
Well, no,
But
that's
at
been
that
changed.
point,
That's
that
been
point?
changed though. That's what the Days of Future Past did. It changed the future. So
it doesn't mean that he won't care for her and want to be with her,
He
right?
probably
We don't know
won't
that.
care for her.
We have no idea what the writers decide to do anymore now.
But if I had to pick my worst thing about it, like I was at first with you on the Quicksilver thing where he didn't tell Magneto, but I really think the stupidest thing was how powerful is Apocalypse supposed to be? He's supposed to be so powerful that he can tell who the powerful people are. And he can't tell that Jean Grey is like the powerful Phoenix. I mean, dude's been around for thousands of years. He has no idea. He's just like, oh, this girl, I'm not even going to fuck with her. I'll just mess with all these other people. He doesn't even try.
He got the wrong four.
Yeah,
It's supposed
I mean,
to be.
like-
Now that I think about it, right? That's the reason, right? The four horsemen of the apocalypse or something.
Well, I mean,
Or-
Talk
So-
about the four
so it's
most unloyal freaking horsemen ever.
No, two of them are loyal.
Who?
Archangel
Angel.
and
And Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn's character. Those, because I'm pretty sure she's gonna come back later. And
She just ran
she's
away
gonna-
at the end, right?
Yeah, she ran away. She's gonna come back later and probably like somehow bring back Apocalypse, which is why she ran away. Which is why they even had that scene of Olivia Munn run away. Of course, Archangel. I sort of liked what they were doing with Archangel, where they actually showed him like actually changing to Archangel, and he gives them the metal wings and stuff like that, and his look and everything. And then they do nothing with him. I was so annoyed with the fact that even Captain America, Falcon, with the same metal wings, has like amazing fight scenes. And with Archangel, the most you see is him being teleported by...
What makes this Archangel guy so special?
Yeah, like why is he such a good character?
Why do you like him so much?
If you ever seen the comics, that he's actually a badass villain. Well, he
is a villain. Even
in the comics, he's actually a villain, and he's the one that actually flip-flops in the comics, because eventually he was good, goes bad, and then comes back to good.
Honestly, if you're a huge Archangel fan and you're going into this movie being like, I can't wait to see Archangel, you're going
Or
to
a
be
fan of any of
sorely
them.
disappointed. Yeah.
Or a fan of any of them.
Didn't they have an Archangel in one of the other X-Men movies?
In X-Men 3.
That was a good Archangel. I liked that
I
kid.
mean, he had one scene where he's like,
I just
cutting
remember.
off his...
Well, I
cutting
liked
off
the
his
kid.
wings.
I think the kid was Ben Foster, and I remember seeing him in movies back in the day. Like that guy's a good actor. This dude, you don't even know if he's a good actor.
No.
He didn't really act. He just anyone could have played the part of Archangel.
Yes, anybody.
Yeah.
Any blonde kid with a good body would have played Archangel.
Yeah.
That's all they needed was a blonde kid with a good body. That's
Yeah.
it.
So whoever played Archangel,
None
great
of us
job,
could have
buddy.
played him.
What are you talking about? These burgers do me good. So, yeah, all in all, I think none of us are really changing our opinion of this. It was not a good movie. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was by no means anything that I would say compares with the other X-Men movies. It was just weak. Yeah, unfortunately weak.
It was, yeah.
And I loved First Class and Days of Future Past.
Mm-hmm.
I loved them. I was like, hey, this is actually some pretty cool scenes.
Yeah.
Did nothing. Honestly, even the fighting scenes weren't even that spectacular. It was nothing was like, oh my god, this is an awesome scene. Because even the scene that was the best scene in the movie, which was with Quicksilver, it was done pretty much the exact same thing as Days of
I kind of
Future
thought
Past.
the same thing too.
They need to make a Days of Future Past 2 where they erase this movie. That would be nice. Yeah.
I'll call it.
Like someone goes to Egypt and finds that stupid lady and says, "We're taking you back," and then nothing happens.
That's the whole story, the whole fighting and everything. So she doesn't open it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like if they could redo this, I would pay to see a second copy of it. Like they
Get rid of Jennifer Lawrence, make Mystique bad,
or keep Jennifer Lawrence and make
And
Mystique
keep
bad.
Magneto bad, please.
and just don't have that stupid story with his family being killed. 'Cause
Can
that's
you
been done
imagine
before.
if the main villains were Michael Fassbender and Jennifer Lawrence? Like, talk about great casting for villains.
I'd be like, this is actually
Yeah.
awesome.
And that's how I was in Days of Future. Oh no, she was. No, she
No.
was bad at the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah. So that was how. It
And
was.
like he said, it's a lot of flip flopping.
Mhm.
Like when it's convenient to have them bad, they're bad. When it's convenient to have them good, they're good.
Yeah.
It's not good for storyline. It's not good for fans.
And-
Like this is going to be one of those movies where they're not going to make as much money as they could have just because the word of mouth is going to suck. It was a silly attempt to make a lot of money based off of the fact that it's time for another movie. This wasn't time for a movie because they had a great script or because they knew what they were going to do for the rest of the franchise, and it was like, it had nothing to do with story. It was all time and money. That's what it was. If we release it this year, we make a lot of money. That's why they did it. I can't imagine it was anything else. Well, let me ask you guys this. Where do you see this franchise going from here? What do you see? If you had to say this is going to probably be the next X-Men movie, what do you think it's going to be about?
I would get rid of Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, she's.
If
done.
anything,
She's
I'd
done
get
with
rid of her
this.
from this. She
I kind of agree.
Yeah,
she was
just-
just doing it for a paycheck or a contract.
I really like her too. I mean, but honestly, if you think about how much they're paying her, and if that money could go into new characters or something to make it better, I'd be down for that.
Comparison with the old X-Men and the new X-Men. Like, comparison between, old Storm,
Mm,
Halle Berry, and this new Storm.
okay.
Nightcrawler, and this new Nightcrawler. Jean Grey, and this new Jean Grey. Like, comparison overall. Honestly, my comparison would be like, I'd, for the most part, take everybody from the old
yeah.
X-Men. Everybody. I'd take all, even acting,
Just that first and second X-Men were just so good, but
like Nightcrawler.
you know what? So were these two. But then this movie just left such a bad taste that it makes you want to go back to the old ones.
Yeah, it's
So,
like no, like the characters like old Xavier. You can't do any better than old Xavier.
I mean, Patrick Stewart, man.
Patrick Stewart
yeah,
is
Since the
amazing.
time he was on Star Trek, I was like, what's Professor X doing on Star Trek?
Yeah, like like I like this new professor.
Just give you the chips.
Oh, James McAvoy?
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. He's probably one of the better actors in this movie.
Him and Fassbender.
Fassbender and Quicksilver, those three probably are the only reason this movie's even rated a 5.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for those three, I'd be like, this movie is a 3.
When you can say that Jennifer Lawrence gave one of the weakest performances in the movie, that means it's a bad movie.
Yeah. And Storm, Halle Berry, like, liked Halle Berry in the other movies.
She just did nothing here.
In this movie, she
She
did
did
nothing.
nothing.
Like, she's like, okay, if you got killed in the final battle, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really care for Storm.
Actually, I might like this Beast better than this is the only time I might say I like this Beast better than the old Beast.
Yeah, I like this Beast better
Yeah.
than the old Beast.
Oh yeah.
This is the only one, because...
Well, the Beast was only in the last X-Men from the first one, right?
Yeah,
From the
it
first,
was, what's his name?
X-Men
Fraser.
Last Stand, yeah. And he was, it wasn't
Is that his
good.
name? Fraser?
No, it was,
Oh, Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer.
no,
And I
Sideshow Bob.
He was Sideshow Bob?
He is
Yeah,
Sideshow
in
Bob,
some
yes.
sense,
Oh, really? That's Sideshow Bob's voice?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it is not even that much far, because I like Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
And he was actually not that bad in Last Stand. I like in Last Stand. I think Beast had probably one of the better fight scenes.
Mhm.
He's not a bad actor. I mean, Kelsey Grammer's a good actor, but
Yeah.
the guy playing him in this movie is better.
I think it's better for this role.
Yeah.
What's the other ones?
Well, if you're going back to Storm, right? Like even in Days of Future Past, right? Remember when the Sentinels kill her at the end? I felt that. I was like, oh no, they
Yeah, like
killed
Harry
her.
Bet-
Here, you would have been like, the Sentinels could have came suddenly. You would have been like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
And you felt for it, even because you didn't know at that point how the story was going to end, right? So I actually thought she was dead, and I was like, oh man, they killed her. And
I'm like,
Yeah.
Nightcrawler.
You cared about her at that point. We didn't care about her at all in this.
Nightcrawler. I like Nightcrawler as an actual like comic book character. I like Nightcrawler. The Nightcrawler in this movie was like meh. Again, if
Yeah.
he would have died, I would have been like,
And even that thing at the end where he like wakes up and he's like, "What happened?" or "Watch out!" I'm like, "Come on, really?
Yeah.
Like, come on, what are you doing?"
like Cyclops. I'm okay with either or.
Cyclops, Cyclops was never all that great.
Yeah.
Anyway, right?
I
That's what
liked
I
the
say.
original Cyclops.
Yeah,
The guy, James Marsden, who played him, I thought he was
Sometimes I
good.
wanted.
Only you would know the name of that. That's a
I've seen him in other stuff.
There's literally no one else who knows that name.
I'll check.
James Marsden.
Oh.
Do you know who he was?
It's
Write
on
us.
me.
Tell us in the comments. I mean, there was just nothing that stands out about this movie. Like when I say, if someone was to ask me what was your favorite part of X-Men or X-Men Apocalypse, it would literally be the Quicksilver scene. That's it. There's nothing else that I would be like, this was really that good. If I ever watch it again, it's going to be for that scene.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. And to have that reaction to the movie that you're so stoked that this scene is coming on just because the rest of the movie is shit, that's no good.
I guess I didn't hate it. It just wasn't good.
There was nothing to like.
There
There was
just-
nothing to
yeah.
hate. There was
Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
to like.
exactly.
Oh,
There's
there was a
nothing
lot to hate. Come on. I'm not going to tell you I'm your son. I hated that.
No,
You
I
know,
mean, like,
Apocalypse
it was-
not being able to figure out that Jean Grey is so powerful. I hated that. You know, friggin' Xavier going, Jean, help me. I hated that. You know, the stupid lady in Egypt, you know, deciding to leave the thing open and the sun by accident comes in, causes everything. I hated that too. I mean, give him a better origin. You know, she decided thousands of years later to leave the fucking roof open so Apocalypse is back. That's the story, and it happens to be the same girl that Xavier knows.
That's a good one. That's a...
At least make it some random ass person who restarts everything, like one of the people praying. Don't make it this girl and then throw her in the movie for no reason. Where are the writers? Writers, if you're watching this, what the hell were you thinking?
Is any of this on, what's his name? David Singer? Is that his name?
Brian Singer, he's
Bryan
the
Singer,
director.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on the director, because sometimes the director is like everyone else. He's just given a
But he
paycheck.
did the other ones, right?
Yeah, but they could have just given him a fucking paycheck and a script and said, make this movie.
Yeah, and then when you're like, this script sucks, you can change it and be like, hey, you should say this instead.
I think there's probably a limited amount of power that people have.
Gee,
Like, he can
no.
probably get some rewrites, but not everything.
And how about the action scenes? I just felt they were very lackluster.
They were.
Or is
They
it
were.
because we've been through so much this year?
Well, let me
already?
ask you this. What was the big action scene in this movie?
I guess the ending, right?
No Quicksilver.
You see, the point I was making is that neither of them can tell me immediately what's the big action
Is
scene.
that really...
Let me ask you
an
this.
action-
What's the big
yeah.
action scene in Captain America Civil War?
Oh, well, yeah, that's obviously the whole battle between them, right?
The-
I mean, there was
no.
a couple, but the battle...
The airport.
The
battle...
airport
yeah, the
scene.
airport scene.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't mean the very last one.
There was no big battle scene in this movie. It was just the ending where they're all trying to fight. But literally in that ending scene, you're so confused as a viewer because Apocalypse is bad. Magneto's bad, Storm is bad, and then suddenly people just decide this is a time for me to start becoming good. This is what I'm going to do. Storm's like, you know what? Lightning. And Magneto's like, you know what? You're my friends.
And not only that, Magneto was always like, he wanted to be the bad guy, right? He just fell right into line with what's his name? Like, oh yeah, it's so great. Yeah.
You know what it was?
Come on.
It's because Apocalypse called them my son. That's what it was. Once he said my son to Magneto, Magneto's like, all right, this guy's cool. And then later he's like, that's the asshole that called me my son, and now he's killing Xavier? I just wish I had something good to say about it. I think that's what...
Quicksilver? How many times are we going to say that?
I can't keep saying it.
So,
That's the thing. I could say it over and over, but it's not going to change the fact that overall this movie was just...
And even then, like, I
mediocre.
wouldn't rank the Quicksilver scene better than any of the major scenes in Captain America. I personally wouldn't. I mean, I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like, it's been done.
Yeah.
The first time when you saw that shit, when he was, he was helping Magneto escape, right? That was because you'd never seen something like that before, so that made it amazing.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're gonna get into our final thoughts. Let you know, our last minute thoughts on what we thought of X-Men Apocalypse. I'll go ahead and get started. My final thoughts are weak script, weak story. They obviously did it just for the money. It didn't really set up anything big for new movies that I'm not leaving this going, damn, I can't wait for the next flick. Yeah. So, in my opinion, it was a popcorn movie. It was just a movie that you go see some action and you see some characters and that's it. You're not really psyched about it. You're not going to recommend it to many people. This is the X-Men movie that can wait for video. That's my opinion.
Or a matinee, if you really...
No.
Yeah. I would just wait for video. Even though no one has video, I wait for Netflix or something. Yeah. Streaming or other methods of viewing stuff online.
Amazon Prime, that's mine.
Amazon Prime's good. I'm actually a little bit of a streaming junkie, I guess, because I have Amazon Prime, I have Netflix, and I have Hulu.
Yep, I have all three too.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So, Selvin, what did you think? What are your final thoughts?
So final thoughts. Basically, this story could have had so much potential. It could have been such a great movie, especially with the Apocalypse being one of the all-time greatest bad guys. And then, but nope, it was just basically just a bland story with terrible character development. You just didn't care about anybody. So then, on top of that, at least with Batman versus Superman, for example, it was a terrible story, but the action was so good that you actually still kind of cared about the movie. Like it was still exciting to watch. The action was just blah. So that would be it.
I second the blah.
I third it. It was blah, blah, blah. I did not like it. Jennifer Lawrence phoned it in. None of the characters were developed. Storyline was meh. Just a ton of cliches. And the only time I wanted a cliche, they didn't give me a cliche. Make it better. If you want X-Men to not go the way of the Dodo Bird.
The what?
The way of the Dodo Bird?
The way of the Dodo Bird. I've never heard that phrase.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Huh. You just learned a new phrase. All right, so you've gotten our final thoughts. You know what we think of the movie. Now it's your turn. Let us know what you think of the movie. Give us some comments and let us know if you agree with us, disagree with us, are we completely wrong, are we completely right? What did you think?
Please subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
Comments at the bottom.
And hit that like button too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well.
And tell your friends about it.
Yes. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. All right, and thank you for joining us once again. You are the Infinity. We're the +3. Now we're -3. Peace out. Have a good night.